Well, I want to talk about generational transmission of disease. People say, well, Doc Wallach, it's got to be true that there's genetics because I got 3 generations of my family with diabetes. Well, no. There's other ways it'll be generational, and that is gluten intolerance, of course. Gluten intolerance. And gluten intolerance is passed on through cord, blood, and breast milk. It's a contact enteritis. What happens when you have a gluten intolerance? Not an allergy to wheat, barley, rye, or oats. Not an allergy. It's an intolerance. It's kind of like when you put poison ivy on your skin, you get a contact dermatitis. When you eat gluten and you're intolerant of it, you're going to get a contact enteritis. Enteritis is a term given to the inflammation of the lining of the intestine that occurs when you put something on it doesn't like. The same way when you put something on your skin it doesn't like is called a contact dermatitis. Okay? And you're looking at contact enteritis causes all kinds of stuff. Celiac disease, appendicitis. That's right, appendicitis is caused by gluten intolerance. Then you're looking at diverticulitis. We're looking at colitis, ulcer colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease. And then you're looking at Crohn's disease, the most severe manifestation of a gluten intolerance. Doctors want to cut parts of your intestine out when you have these things, and really all you have to do is get on a gluten-free diet and take, all of the 90 essential nutrients, and it all goes away. Asthma is a secondary deficiency disease because you have a deficiency of the nutrients that are necessary to prevent and reverse asthma. Okay, we're talking about the omega-3s, big clumsy molecules your body doesn't like to absorb under ideal circumstances, let alone when you have intestinal contact enteritis. And then there's eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea on the face. These sorts of things are just absolutely drop-dead secondary to gluten intolerance. And so I can tell you just by questioning the family whether they have gluten intolerance or what diseases they have, childhood diseases, asthma, eczema. They have things like constipation, diarrhea, all these things. Then you get somebody with 22 different diseases. Whoa, 22 different diseases. You have got a gluten intolerance because you can't absorb nutrients. It isn't you're going to just malabsorb one nutrient, you're going to malabsorb them all. And so you're going to wind up with a rough skin on the back of your arms called keratosis. And keratosis can cause you to be very uncomfortable. It's itchy. You don't like it. It's also very, very rough and uncomfortable for people who want to touch you in a loving way. This can be on your arms. It could be on the trunk of your body. It could be on your legs. It could be on your rump. It could be in the little tubes that carry the tears from your eyes into your nose. And then you have tears streaming down your face all day. You're not crying in the sense it's an emotional thing or a painful thing. You're crying because the tears which would normally go into your nasal passage can't get there because that keratosis caused by vitamin A deficiency secondary to a gluten intolerance. People say, well, why is it so new? Why are we hearing about gluten intolerance now? Well, it's just been recognized that all these diseases thought to be autoimmune, like lupus and sarcoidosis and things like fibromyalgia, are not autoimmune. They're really just a manifestation, secondary malabsorption to gluten intolerance. So once you get a hold of the book Epigenetics, it walks you through this, the CD serial killers. So the CD serial killers in the book Epigenetics will walk you through all the things that happen to you and all the things that can happen to you when you're gluten intolerant. The nice thing about it is you get on a gluten-free diet, and this includes even dog food, cat food. You're looking at bird food, fish food, mother-in-law, spouse, kids. Everybody in the household has got to be gluten intolerant. Okay, you got to be gluten-free if they're going to help the person who has a gluten intolerance. Women pass it on through cord, blood, and breast milk, and that's where it gets to be generational. Men get these things from their mama, but they don't pass it on because they're not carrying pregnancy or breastfeeding babies. And so this kind of explains a lot of things. It shows you the last nail in the coffin of the failed theory that all diseases are genetic or have a genetic origin. It is a failed genetic theory, and this is where the book Epigenetics comes in. Epigenetics is a study, and I'm considered one of the founders, one of the fathers of the study and science of epigenetics, and I'm very blessed to be designated that. And it's because of my work with selenium deficiency and cystic fibrosis and muscular dystrophy many years ago, 40 years ago. But at any rate, epigenetics tells you how to give your genes, your DNA, your RNA, and your telomeres, which are the end caps in your chromosomes, the ideal nutrients so you can maximize your genetic potential for longevity, for health, for intelligence, and fending off disease. You might not reach your genetic potential for these properties if you don't have all the nutrients necessary to make your genes, your DNA, RNA, and your telomeres happy. And so the book Epigenetics goes step by step, tells you nutrient by nutrient, which genes, which telomeres, all the things, the DNA and RNA It's amazing. The information is in this book. It will add 25 to 50 years of your life. It'll teach you how to reverse many diseases, including type 2 diabetes, things like fibromyalgia, lupus, arthritis, Alzheimer's disease, and high blood pressure, heart disease of many kinds, like congestive heart failure and cardiomyopathy heart disease. This is very simple stuff once you know. Well, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? And so I urge you to get a hold of this book, Epigenetics. This should be this year's Christmas present for everybody, Epigenetics. This should be this year's present for families, couples getting married or couples having their first baby. You need to know epigenetics, the science of epigenetics, the book Epigenetics. The subtitle is The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. And then don't forget the CD, Serial Killers, and it really goes into great detail. Gives you all the hidden places you're going to find gluten. Protect yourself. Be gluten-free. Add 25 to 50 years to your life. Better yet, the life of your kids. We'll be back with more Truth, Justice, and the Longevity Way on Dead Doctors Don't Lie after these messages. Okay, Doug, what pearls of wisdom do you have for us today?
Well, I thought we'd continue talking about gluten intolerance and the celiac disease, as I've got a Fox News story here that's about a couple of studies that were done. And the headline reads, Early Gluten Exposure, No Protection Against Celiac Disease. They say conventional wisdom says that exposing a baby to small amounts of gluten around the age of 4 to 6 months may prevent the child from developing celiac disease. Say the two new studies suggest it makes no difference. It was all reported in the New England Journal of Medicine. They say also offer evidence that breastfeeding doesn't guard against the immune disease, which attacks the small intestine and infects as many as 1 in 100 in the U.S. and the U.K. They say the condition is rarer worldwide. I think it's probably rarer worldwide because people worldwide in other countries don't eat wheat and gluten. And I say from now on, it will be hard for anyone to continue to recommend introduction of gluten, specifically at ages 4 to 6 months. And that comes from Drs. Jonas Ludvigsson of the Karolinska Institute in Stockholm and Peter Green of the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Say another study found that delaying exposure to gluten until the age of 12 months may delay the onset of celiac. However, it ultimately didn't prevent the condition. They say in both tests, the researchers also did not find any evidence that breastfeeding, the duration of breastfeeding, or the introduction of gluten during breastfeeding influenced later development of celiac disease. And as I read that, I'm thinking, well, that's how you get celiac disease, is by breastfeeding or through the cord blood. And I wouldn't have thought conventional wisdom is if you don't have the correct enzymes in your system to break gluten down, why would introducing small amounts of it make any difference? To me, that's not conventional wisdom.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of failed. In fact, there's thousands of failed medical theories, and that's one of them. They always say, well, don't introduce wheat until the baby's 6 months old, then you can start introducing wheat. Well, see, the problem here is, Doug, that many of the diseases that are secondary to gluten intolerance, like asthma, things like lupus, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, celiac disease, appendicitis, asthma, these things were never related secondarily to gluten intolerance. They were thought to be diseases in and of themselves. And so people say, why is it suddenly now there's gluten problems everywhere? Well, it's always been there, but because of ignorance, hundreds of years ago, nobody related these diseases to a gluten consumption. Well, now we have the capacity to do that. And I began to see that back in the 1960s when I was doing all these autopsies with the Center for Disease Control, with the Center for the Biology of Natural System at Washington University. And at that time, I was seeing all these diseases that just didn't fit the animal. Okay, why would an alligator have things like diabetes? Why would a hummingbird have eczema? Why would a dog have eczema, and so forth? And it's because they were getting gluten in their food. And you take the gluten out, it all went away. And the same with asthma. I've healed tens of thousands of people with asthma that have been treated by doctors with prednisone and so forth. You get them on a gluten-free diet, you get them on the 90 essential nutrients, and usually in 2 weeks it goes away. Never comes back as long as they stay on a gluten-free diet and take in the 90 essential nutrients. And, of course, doctors want to keep people on inhalers and prednisone and cortisone and so forth, keep them coming in the office every month for examinations. And, of course, this is why we want people to read the book Epigenetics and listen to the CD, Serial Killers, so they can take care of themselves. The whole idea is to make the medical system very humble. Right now they're very arrogant because they've conditioned people to need them. Well, we want to condition people to not need them. You have to take responsibility, learn how to take care of yourself and the people you love. That's Epigenetics, the book, and Serial Killers, the CD. Avoid gluten and live 25 extra years. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Phoenix, Arizona, and Kimberly, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Oh, Kimberly, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach. Thank you so much for taking my phone call.
You bet. What's up?
I have to start with saying we have the epigenetics book right in front of us, and although not finished with it yet, we are just floored with your work.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you reading the book.
Thank you. I'm calling on behalf of my father, and I have just a couple points I'd like to make first so you have a little background very concisely. My father is 250 pounds. He's 73 years old. In 2006, he had a fall on the ice, and from that, he had surgery, and he had nerve damage, and he continues to have pain from that.
Okay, I'm sorry. He had surgery for what? Did he have a fracture?
Compressed discs in the neck.
Okay.
So at that time of the fall, they put him on Solumedrol for 72 hours. That's one thing I want you to know. Now, flashing forward through these past few years, he's had a hard time walking. He's very fatigued. He's really just never been the same. Then he developed this cough a couple of years ago, and already while he's walking, he needs to sit very often because he was out of breath.
Okay, well, since he has this chronic cough, did somebody take an X-ray or a CAT scan or an ultrasound of his chest?
Yes. Now, that's where we're at. This whole last year, what has come out of it was he was double diagnosed. He had stage 1 lung cancer, which was a single pulmonary nodule. He had the SBRT, the pinpointed radiation for that, and they consider him in remission. But with that diagnosis, he also was diagnosed with this idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. And my family has been researching everything that we can on how these two might be interrelated. Well, it's kind of like a layered problem now because he has so much coughing, so much shortness of breath. He's so fatigued on top of the nerve damage that we're trying to peel back layers. And this doctor he's with now wants to put him on high-dose prednisone. And everything that we're reading about this prednisone is very scary because we know they're wanting to focus on his lungs, but he has other issues, with the pain and the damage, and then his digestion seems to be really off. A lot of diarrhea.
Well, has he had a history of diarrhea or constipation?
Yes, both at different times, and we figured that was the nerve damage playing into those areas.
Okay. Now, did he ever have any skin problems, any eczema or dermatitis or rosacea on his face or anything?
Not that we know of, but there's little tiny white bumps, spots, I should say, almost flat spots, every once in a while, no specific pattern, up his legs.
Okay. Yeah, that could be keratosis, or they're on the front of his thighs kind of thing?
On the front of his thighs?
Yeah.
Not really sure about that. More down below the knees, I think.
Okay. So hang on. We'll be back, and Char and I will give you our opinion here and decide what you think he needs to do. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go back to Arizona and Kimberly. Okay, Char, her daddy is 250 pounds, fell on the ice, had a bulging cervical disc in his neck, caused some problems, had surgery, things got worse, coughing, has these little white bumps on his lower legs. And so what would you say is going on here?
Well, I would say definitely he has a gluten intolerance. And
there's two things going on. Yeah. And it's just a coincidence, okay? But there's two things going on. You're exactly right. He's got a gluten intolerance plus the trauma. So what would you do for this guy?
Well, he should ideally have 3 healthy bone and joint packs for his bulging discs and everything. But if he can't afford 3, 2 for sure.
Yeah, minimum of 2, exactly. And then also, I would, because he had this surgery, I would also throw in something for his stem cells. What new product would you have him take to encourage stem cells to kind of rebuild all his tissues?
Immortalium and Fucoid Z, too.
There you go, Fucoid Z, very good. And how tall is your father, Kimberly?
He is 5'10".
5'10". Okay, well, 5'10", I'd like to see him at 175 pounds. So I think he's probably 75 pounds or more, maybe even 100 pounds overweight. It's anywhere between 75 and 100 pounds overweight. And so, Char, what would you do for his weight challenge?
ASAP.
A dropper full under his tongue 30 minutes before each meal, and a dropper full under his tongue 15 minutes before each meal. So he's going to require 2 bottles a month of the ASAP. That's a dropper full, not a drop. And Char's exactly right. Ideally, he would take 3 of the healthy bone and joint packs per month. But if he can only afford 2, 2 is better than none. 1 is about like none, a big guy like him. It might take him 20 years to see results. And so minimum of 2, ideally 3. So I'll show you the ideal thing. He wants 1 ounce of the Osteo FX Plus at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine 2.0 NutriCrystals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and want him to have 20 glucogel a day, 5 at breakfast, 5 at lunch, 5 at dinner, and 5 at bedtime with a glass of water. And he's got the CM cream that comes with each of those healthy bone joint packs. He could apply that to his surgical site in his neck and relieve a lot of the inflammation and pain there. He could do that every couple of hours during the day. And for his cough, for the pulmonary fibrosis, I want him to take 12 of the Ultimate Daily tablets a day, 4 at breakfast, 4 at lunch, 4 at dinner. That's going to be 2 bottles a month of the Ultimate Daily tablets. And they're designed to get blood flowing through obstructed arteries. And our goal here is to get more of the air he breathes into through the scar tissue in his lungs, into the veins and arteries of his lungs that go out to the rest of his body. Okay? And so make sure he stays away from the bad, irritating stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, and no gluten. We'll be back after these messages.
Let's head to Wisconsin. And Rachel, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Rachel, you're on the air.
Thank you. Just wanted to let you know, Dr. Wallach, I used to be a Western-based allopathic practitioner, but since I've become sick, I have come to the realization that Western-based medicine has nothing for me. Those doctors have not been able to touch my condition, and so I'm turning to you.
Okay, how can we help you? Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My question is complicated and multi-tiered and based on a number of conditions that I have accumulated over the past 6 years. Started with a 3-centimeter-long gooey black cavitation in my upper left jaw. A couple years after that, I got Lyme disease, and then the two contributed to leaky gut and food sensitivities to just about everything I put in my mouth. I just recently was diagnosed with beriberi because my vitamin B is so low, and I also know I have a severe zinc deficiency, which has now...
Stop a minute. Beriberi has a wide range of symptoms. What symptoms do you have that relate to beriberi?
Well, I was having heart palpitations and fatigue, and I'm not sure exactly which of my symptoms were strictly from...
Okay, well, dementia is very common with beriberi. Congestive heart failure is a terminal event for beriberi. You can get dry skin. You get all kinds of intestinal problems, not quite as much as you get with pellagra, which is a vitamin B3 deficiency. But beriberi is extremely common in America, and most doctors, when you ask them, most medical doctors, allopathic, Western-type doctors, you ask them, have you ever seen beriberi? They'll say, oh, no. And I said, what do you do? Well, I'm a heart specialist, and I deal with congestive heart failure. Well, that's the terminal event for beriberi, and they don't even know what they're looking at. And so thank you for sharing that with us. Okay, so I got it here. And you're going to get multiple zinc deficiencies when you have leaky gut, because, Char, what is the underlying cause of leaky gut?
Well, it's a gluten.
Yep, absolutely. It's a gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So you're going to get multiple deficiencies. It's not unusual. Char, well, you've seen people with multiple deficiencies that have a gluten intolerance. What was the highest number of deficiencies you've seen in one person?
I think the one lady in Canada had 22 different diagnosed diseases.
Yes, we were seeing like 14 different specialists, yep. And it was a simple gluten deficiency causing secondary deficiencies. And all we had to do was get her off of gluten, get her on the 90 essential nutrients, and they all went away. So what else you got here, Doctor?
This zinc deficiency and vitamin B6 deficiency in particular have now led to this final condition that I've just been diagnosed with, which is the tricky part, and it's a double-edged sword. I have a condition called ketopyluria, or KPU.
Okay, well, tell me wait a minute. Tell me KPU. Ketophenyluria?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, now that's something the babies are tested for when they're born. PKU, it's a inborn error metabolism. And were you tested positive with that as a baby?
No, but it is now being found that people with chronic Lyme disease can develop KPU because it downregulates the gene to make heme.
Okay, now wait a minute. Let's go back. Tell me about your experience with Lyme disease. Were you diagnosed with Lyme disease?
I was diagnosed with Lyme disease about 6 years ago.
Okay. All right. And were you treated successfully for Lyme disease?
We have no idea because I've developed all these other problems, and I don't know.
Okay. What do you weigh?
Right now, I am down to about 104.
Okay. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
Okay. So you're very slim.
I've lost so much weight.
Yeah, very slim. Okay. Now, did you ever have any history of any skin problems, any eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, or rosacea?
No.
Did you ever have any asthma as a kid?
Not as a kid. However, about 10 years ago, I started having some breathing difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been gluten-free now since last December.
Okay. Is your spouse gluten-free?
I am unmarried. However, I have 2 children, and they are not gluten-free.
Do they live in the house with you?
They do.
Okay, then you're not gluten-free. Okay, everybody in the household, including the dog and the cat and the bird and the fish, the spouse, kids, mother-in-law, grandmother, everybody in the household's got to be gluten-free. Otherwise, you're not gluten-free because of cross-contamination in the laundry, cross-contamination on the couch where everybody watches TV, cross-contamination in the food preparation surfaces, cross-contamination on the rugs, in the bathroom, and the towels, everything. So you're not gluten-free unless everybody in the household is gluten-free. And so the whole house has got to be rid of gluten. And how old are your children?
15 and 12.
Okay. And so they and you need to listen to the CD Serial Killers so you can really appreciate all the hidden places you're going to find gluten. That CD covers that. And there's like hundreds and hundreds of different places you'll find hidden. It's kind of an oxymoron. You're going to find hidden gluten. Okay? Everything from meatloaf and meatballs, they hold them together with breadcrumbs and cracker crumbs. Nobody makes their own meatballs and meatloaf anymore, so people don't know they're held together with breadcrumbs and cracker crumbs. They thicken gravy with it. They thicken soup with it. It's a filler for pastrami and pepperoni and salami and bologna and all those summer sausage and all those kind of things. Cheaper than meat. And it's even in ice cream and yogurt. It's in nuts on the bag that says these nuts are naturally gluten-free, and then you roll it over and you look at the allergy stuff on the back. It says these nuts are filled or packaged on equipment that also packages wheat products, like pretzels and trail mix and that kind of stuff. And so they're contaminated with wheat flour. So it's everywhere. I mean, you got to be obsessive. It's almost like you're going to be crazy looking for wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So with that said, Shar, what would you do for this 104-pound lady? Now, do you still practice at all? You maintain your license, or did you burn it on the courthouse steps, or what?
I decided to leave medicine, and I currently am teaching to make ends meet. I teach chemistry and genetics and biotechnology and bacteriology at a local high school. However, I am considering getting my naturopathic license because I feel it's the way for me to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, welcome to that family, too. And we'd love to have you as a longevity associate, okay? And so we'll be happy to work with you that way, too, because we impact enormous amounts of people. Before I let Shar tell you what I think we need to do for you, I see over 2 million patients a day through the eyes of 250,000 PAs, which I pay personally. Okay, they don't get paid by insurance companies. I pay them. Okay? And Shar is one of my people. She's been with me for just about 25 years, and she's responsible for overseeing 400,000 patients. Okay, so with all that said, Shar, let's see here. What would you do for Dr. Well, okay, well, hang on. When we come back, Shar, you're going to tell Dr. Rachel what we think she needs. We'll be back after these messages. back. Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for Youngevity, 90 for Life Crusade. We do have lines open, and I'm going to jump right away to Wisconsin and Dr. Rachel. Okay, Shar, again, 104-pound lady. She was treated for Lyme's disease. I don't believe she had Lyme's disease for 6 years because it's curable in 2 weeks with antibiotics. And so anybody who gets treated for Lyme's disease for 6 years means that the doctor either missed the diagnosis or wasn't really trying to heal them. Let's see here. She's multiple deficiencies. Beriberi, which is B1 deficiency, B6 deficiency, zinc deficiency, leaky gut, PKU, acquired later in life. And let's see here. Okay, so what would you say, Shar?
Well, she needs to de-stress for the beriberi for sure. Mm-hmm. She needs to get on a gluten-free diet, which she already is, but she needs to be more careful about that. And I would give her one healthy bone and joint pack 2.0 because she has jaw problems too.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay, and let's see here. Very, very good. So, yeah, 104 pounds, one healthy bone and joint pack, as Shar says. And because you have muscle wasting and PKU and that sort of thing, I would also throw in a couple of bottles of selenium, so you can take 3 selenium twice a day. I'd have you take the glucogel, that one healthy bone and joint pack. Get another bottle of glucogel, so you can take 15 a day, 5 at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would also take the immortalium to help support and stimulate stem cell production, and so you can put your body in a maintenance repair mode. And let's see here. For the PKU, you want to read labels on food you eat and avoid things that have phenylalanine in it. And let's see here. The leaky gut will go away when you get gluten-free, and you'll get to absorb more nutrients when you're gluten-free. So all these things, you have leaky gut and all that kind of stuff, beriberi, zinc deficiency, B6 deficiency, all will just go away. So if you would, please, doctor, give us a call on a regular basis every 2 weeks, and do contact either the number on the telephone here or your local Youngevity associate there in Wisconsin. And we'd love to have you in the Youngevity family. We certainly would support you going back to school and getting your naturopathic degree. And I'm sure they will give you lots of exchange credit for your university degree, university courses. Okay, Doug, we got time to start another one?
Yeah, if we go real quick here, let's head to Connecticut. And Barry, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Okay, I'm sorry. Was that Mary or Barry?
Barry with a B.
Barry with a B. Okay, Barry, you're in the air.
Hi.
Yes, sir. How can we help you?
Call. We have newly discovered your website and your information, and we haven't really tried anything on your program, but actually it's for my whole family. But for me specifically, I'm 67 years old. I've had melanoma on my ear that has been excised 3 times, and I've also had kidney stones and glaucoma, and
okay, what do you weigh, sir? What do you weigh, Barry?
Right now I weigh about 140 pounds.
Okay, well, 140 pounds. Yeah, because you've had recurrence of cancer, melanoma, very dangerous skin cancer, I would definitely get off of gluten, fried foods, processed meats, and oils. I would use, at 140 pounds, I would go ahead with 2 healthy brain and heart packs per month, a full dose of everything at breakfast, a full dose of everything at dinner time. And then, because of glaucoma, I would throw in 1 bottle of the Ultimate Daily Tablets and take 3 of the Ultimate Daily Tablets at breakfast and dinner. It's going to help support healthy blood flow through the arteries of the eye. When you have kidney stones, you have raging osteoporosis. So in addition to the 2 healthy brain and heart packs, I would take 2 bottles of our large glucogel, take 15 of those a day to prevent more kidney stones, reduce your risk of kidney stones, maintain the minerals in your bones. And let's start there. Give us a call every couple of weeks, and we'll kind of walk you through this. I know it's been fast. I apologize. Call us again, and we will walk you through this. But that's a start. Okay, thank you, Shar. Super job as usual. Thank you so much, Doug and Richard. Superlative job as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs, and God bless America.